Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and this is your Ole Gunnar Solsjaker press conference reaction building up to the Sheffield United Manchester United game on Sunday 4:30 kick-off. So I am now going to interpret some of the stuff that Ole Gunnar Solsjaker mentioned during his press conference. Also he has provided us with some team news. Solskjaer during his press conference did praise Jose Mourinho. He has reacted, to Jose Mourinho, returning, and he did actually say it is good news for the Premier League. And he also said it was a shame that Mauricio Pochettino, of course, got sacked. But he said despite the sacking of Mauricio Pochettino, Solskjaer still feels as though that he's not under extra pressure at the football club, because obviously we're linked with Mauricio Pochettino and that. But he has confirmed as well during the press conference that Nemanja Matic, Alex Tuanzebe, and Luke Shaw have all returned to training. I think he said Tuanzebe and Luke Shaw maybe not match fit, but they are closer to returning. Matic has been out with a minor problem. Luke Shaw has been out now for 3 months. He hasn't played since the 2-1 home defeat to Crystal Palace, and obviously Tuanzebe has been out with a hip injury. And I think the last game he played was the 1-0 defeat to Newcastle. Don't forget, Tuanzebe was named in the starting 11 against Liverpool. But obviously, he sustained the injury during the warm-up, so obviously, he couldn't play. As I did say as well yesterday on my actual preview, that Eric Bay and Diego Dalot have also now returned to training. But they trained away from the rest of the squad. I think so too did Fosu Mensah, because also Fosu Mensah is back in training. Bay's been out with a knee injury. Diego Dalot, I think, has been out with some kind of leg injury, and he's sustained quite a few injuries, this season. But Solskjaer did basically give his overarching view on it, and he did say the numbers of training is looking very strong. So it's good now to see more players recovering from injury. He also confirmed that Marcus Rojo is also injured. He's also confirmed that Scott McTominay will still be out for at least a couple of weeks. Don't forget, McTominay has got an ankle injury. He initially sustained the injury in the 3-0 win against Partizan Belgrade. Did play the game against Brighton before the international break, but obviously came off with injury, because I think the actual ankle injury had recurred. Don't forget, McTominay had initial scans on his ankle to find the extent of the injury, and it's actually now quite severe. And I think it did assure that McTominay will miss the games against City and Tottenham next month. But you've got to take into account, that McTominay is going to be a big miss, because McTominay has been a revelation this season, and he has been a consistent starter. But I did say, reflect on his impressive performances anywhere, he has deserved to keep his place in the team. But obviously now with Matic recovering, I think obviously he will fulfill McTominay's role, even though I think McTominay is obviously a better solution than him. And McTominay did obviously withdraw from the Scotland squad during the international break and that. But I still got element of concerns about him being long-term solution for Man United, because he's question marks around McTominay. Can he keep the consistency up? He's confirmed that Paul Pogba's still injured as well. Solskjaer did initially say that Paul Pogba is not expected back until December. Paul Pogba has had an ongoing ankle injury that's been surrounding the player for a matter of weeks. Don't forget, the other week Paul Pogba had travelled to Amsterdam, to have his ankle cast removed. That obviously indicates out that he's closer to recovering from injury. But I can definitely assure he will not be involved in the game on Sunday. But I think he's definitely going to be back by December. The last game that Paul Pogba did play was the 1-1 draw with Arsenal early on in the season. Well, that was the last league game he had played. But Paul Pogba, he's a very imperative player. I think we're still very very adamant that he does want to leave the football club next year, because Paul Pogba's recently come out and still said you know, he's desperate to quit Manchester United, so he has got the same perception, you know, than what he had for the entirety of the summer, because he wanted to leave during the summer. And you know, he did reveal that, you know, he wanted to leave Manchester United at the beginning of the summer because he wanted to rejuvenate his career, and he wanted to seek a new challenge and that. And he actually publicly admitted that he wanted to leave the football club for the very first time. His preference was a move to Real Madrid during the course of the summer because, you know, Real Madrid were relentlessly into him. There was also rumours that emerged out during the summer that there was talks about him possibly making a return back to Turin. But I think now actually there's been a change of scenery, because I think now, you know, Paul Pogba's preference is a return to Juventus, because Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 good years in training with Juventus. And I think at Man United, the vast majority of his performances have been in comparison to what we saw when he was at Juventus. So he hasn't replicated at Man United, you know, what he did do with Juventus. Don't get me wrong, you know, we have seen Paul Pogba at his best as a Manchester United player. You know, we mainly saw the best of him in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solsjaker was the interim manager. But I think the only factor reason is really that during the summer why Paul Pogba's move to Real Madrid didn't materialise was reflecting on the substantial amount, you know, we put on him, because we wanted in the excess of around £80 million. Obviously, you know, Real Madrid were not willing to pay that, because you know, disregarding that anyway, you know, Real Madrid, you know, spent around £300 million during the summer on 5 players. You know, they did sell some players, so, you know, they did generate some of the money back. But, you know, we paid £89 million for Paul Pogba. He is our most expensive signing. He's still got 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United, with an option to extend it by a further year. And he's on around 290 grand a week at the club. So, in that aspect, he's one of the highest paid players in the football club. So, yeah, he will not be playing on Sunday and that. But, you know, we've had a lot of injuries anyway this season. So, in that aspect, you know, Solskjaer has obviously, you know, had to make a lot of alterations in the squad. I do believe he'll stick with the 4-2-3-1 formation against Sheffield United, because obviously that's the formation he's been going with on a regular basis this season. You know, obviously he's tried a few different elements of Solskjaer, you know, to try and turn his managerial tenure around at the football club. And I still believe, from my own perception, that he's under pressure, especially with the sacking of Mauricio Pochettino. Obviously Solskjaer's perception is totally comparison, because he feels as though that he's under no extra pressure with the sacking of Pochettino, like I said at the beginning of the video. But yeah, like I mentioned anyway, you know, we have rejuvenated ourselves recently, so I think reflecting on our good run of form, you know, I think, you know, maybe the pressure has eased off Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a bit, because we've actually, you know, won 5 of our last 6 games in all competitions. But obviously reflecting back before the Liverpool game, Solskjaer, you know, was under intense pressure. But, you know, like I said, you know, we obviously Solskjaer a few times this season has gone with 3 at the back, and I think you could arguably say, you know, we looked better with that formation. That, don't get me wrong, you know, there's still question marks regarding Solskjaer. You know, why is he playing Ashley Young on a regular basis? You know, why has he been playing Ashley Young on a regular basis? Why isn't he playing Mason Greenwood, you know, more often? So yeah, still some of his tactics are questionable, and some of his substitutions are questionable. But, you know, we've actually showed a lot of tactical flexibility recently, which is obviously good. But I've seen a variety of changes recently. You know, the performances have been better. You know, we've seemed to be creating more chances recently, because analysing it for the vast majority of this season, that's been an element of concern. We haven't seemed to be creating enough chances, and this is the explanation, you know, why we haven't been ruthless enough in front of goal, why we haven't been scoring enough goals. But recently, you know, we've also scored more goals, and, you know, certain players have revived themselves, which is also very, very good news. So yeah, I have seen a variety of changes, but it still doesn't change my perception regarding Solskjaer. I still do believe he is in the long-term future for Manchester United. Obviously, Solskjaer's totally comparison to what I think, because he insists he's the right manager to elevate Man United forward. You know, you've also got Ed Woodward that, you know, replicates Solskjaer in that aspect, because Ed Woodward obviously recently assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is safe. But yeah. But I did say, maybe my perceptions, will change, regarding Solskjaer. If we can keep this good run of form up until January, or until the end of the season, then I may start to think, he is the right manager for Man United. But, if we did get rid of Solskjaer, now or even in the future, I don't think it would solve a lot of problems because, reflecting on our inconsistency for the vast majority of this season, Solskjaer is accountable for some of that, but you can't just put all of the blame from him, And I did say, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club anywhere. I think we need to get rid of our current board because, they've been a liability for several years, reflecting on their poor recruitment and their poor selection of managers. I think we also need to get rid of Ed Woodward. There's also still more players that do need to leave Man United, despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival and that. So we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. But Sheffield United is going to be a very, very difficult game, like I mentioned. They've been a revelation themselves this season. They're sitting fifth in the league at the moment. They are 1 point ahead of us. Actually, this is the first time, this is our first travel to Bramall Lane in 13 years. So I also, want to put that into the equation. But, Sheffield United, beat Arsenal early on this season. There was unlucky, not to get out from Liverpool. So they have been a revelation. I've got to praise Chris Wilder because I think he has done a really good job with Sheffield United. Obviously, he's now into his 4th season with Sheffield United. He's basically progressed them from League 1 to 5th in the Premier League because he took the mantle on at Sheffield United back in 2016, and obviously he's emulated himself up, but he has actually managed various clubs, obviously small various clubs he's managed. Obviously, he began his managerial career with Alfred Town, then I think, if I'm right, did he go to Halifax? Obviously, was at Northampton for several years. Obviously, had a spell with Oxford, but he has done a really, really good job. And some people do believe that actually Chris Wilder would be the right candidate to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United. Some people believe he would be the right candidate to replace Unai Emery at Arsenal. But Chris Wilder, I don't think has got many intentions of leaving Sheffield United. But this is only the game on Sunday as well. I want to put into the equation. Obviously, after the results on Saturday, and that obviously I presume will fall lower in the table. We are currently sitting 7th in the Premier League at the moment. Obviously, so far we are 12 games into the Premier League season. We've won 4, we've drawn 4, we've lost 4. So in that aspect, we've only registered 16 points from a possible 36. And we know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards and that. But yeah, I think if we can, I think we can beat Sheffield United, if we can replicate, the performance we showed against, Brighton before the international break and the game against Partizan Belgrade. I think, it should be a comfortable win for us. And quite recently as well, you've got to say our away form has improved because obviously our away form has prior to that has been absolutely atrocious. Maybe you've got to say our home form, still needs to improve and that. But yeah, we are sitting at 7th in the league at the moment. And like I did put into the equation, reflecting on the size and the potential of this club, also reflects on the amount of money that's been invested into the football club. In all the managerial areas, we should be much more of a commanding position, than winning now. I think at minimum, we should be at least challenging for that top 4. I don't think Solskjaer has fully disregarded that top 4 because obviously, there's still a long way to go in this season. There's still a lot of twists and turns to come. We are 9th now in the Premier League. We're sitting 7th. Sorry, but we are around 9 points behind top 4. And I think it's very imperative that we get into that top 4 this season so we can get into the Champions League. And I did initially say at the start of this season that our expectations this season, will be to, finish in that top 4. So obviously it can create a platform and give us obviously, something to build on in our... And I didn't actually say anywhere our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons anywhere because... obviously we're not good enough to win the league as yet. Obviously, we're not even good enough, to be title contenders. I think it's it's a long process and that, and I think for us to be back to being a competitive elite level football club, for us to be back to being future title contenders, we have got to get the right calibre players to Manchester United. So it's very imperative next year that we do get the right calibre players to the football club, and that we do address all the deficiencies in the squad. But I didn't expect us to win the league this season anywhere. Because analysing it at the moment, City are strides ahead of us, Liverpool are strides ahead of us. But yeah, we're not good enough to win the league. But I did say at the start of this season that I still expected us to have a better season this season than what we enjoyed last season. So I also, did take that into account. We know that we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for over 30 years. So the last time we had as bad a start to a season was this. Was back under the Ron Atkinson era. So this was actually before the Alex Ferguson era. So I just wanted to put that into the equation. And I did say, didn't I think our only route to Champions League football for next season is progressing in the Europa League this season. And like I said, the positive is that we are in the Europa League knockout stages. With still 2 games remaining, so you can say that's a positive. We're also into the Carabao Cup quarter finals, which is obviously very, very good news. But we could still end up with some silverware this season. So you've also got to take that into account and that. But like I said, there's some aspects of me, that I do credit Ole Gunnar Solsjaker and that. Obviously I've got some element of concerns about him, but the things I do credit him for is that he did recommend 3 good players to the squad during the summer. We spent a substantial amount during the summer. We spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers and that. Very, very well. He's also got a lot of trust with it in his young upcoming players, as Solskjaer. Don't get me wrong, I don't think all young upcoming players are going to become a success at the football club. I have got some element of concerns about some of them. But I can assure that Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, Tuan Zebe, perhaps maybe even James Garner will all become successes at the football club, definitely. The young players I've got element of concerns about is obviously Chong. I think we do need to get rid of him. I've also got element of concerns about Angel Gomez. But we have got a lot of young players in the squad that are developing and trying to improve. We've also got a lot of experienced players in the squad. Mason Greenwood now, he'll definitely get more opportunities. He has not yet started a game from the start in the Premier League, this season. He has made a lot of substitute appearances though, but he has come up with a moment of quality. I think it's totally comparison to Martial and you could say Rashford at the moment, but I think as he develops more, I can assure he will overtake Marcus Rashford. He'll eventually, become a better goal scorer than Marcus Rashford, but he's quite a lot younger than Marcus Rashford because he's only the age of 18. He's Mason Green, but he's scored 3 senior goals for this season. And I think so far this season he's replicating, what he did with the reserves last season. But I've been very impressed with him. Brandon Williams, he's been playing regularly recently, and I said he would earn more first team promotions, if he does keep the consistency up, Brandon Williams and that. And you've got to say now that, that left back is being confirmed, despite the fact, we've got a variety of fullbacks, plus that, Luke Shaw is our first choice left back. And he's been our first choice left back for quite some time. But I've got to say, Brandon Williams is a better solution than him. I can definitely assure that Brandon Williams is a much better solution than Ashley Young. But yeah, but I do probably presume anywhere that Ashley Young will probably play this game, or at least will be involved. He didn't play the last game against Brighton before the international break through suspension, so I do believe he will be playing this game against Sheffield United. Because like I mentioned, Ashley Young has been playing on a regular basis this season, like I currently mentioned. But I've also been, like I've updated you on numerous occasions, I've been very, very impressed with Marcus Rashford recently. He has been absolutely fantastic. He's rejuvenated himself, but I even still said during Marcus Rashford's long bad spell, I still said then he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. I have got still some element of concerns about him, but recently he's done well. I think Rashford has scored 8 goals in his last 8 starts for club and country, and he's just recently, not too long ago, turned 22 years of age. But he's been absolutely fantastic. Martial, since he came back from injury, he's been in scintillating form. And you've got to say, Martial does help the likes of Daniel James and Marcus Rashford. He's also, added more inspiration in that attacking third in the pitch. But he's been fantastic, and I think, some aspects of Martial, do complement, do replicate, Marcus Rashford. Definitely. You've got to say, more or less, to score the same amount of goals. Apart from one, basically, because Rashford's now on 54 goals in just under 200 appearances in all competitions since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016. And Martial, I think, is on 53 goals for the football club in all competitions since his arrival from Monaco back in 2015. And now Martial is now into his 5th season at the club. Martial's predominant position is out wide, but obviously he does now play more centrally because he had been given that number 9 shirt at the start of this season. And Martial does seem to be more effective in that central position anywhere. They can obviously both play in the same positions, can Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford. Obviously, there's not only some Man United fans though that are backing Solskjaer. You've also got some players that have come out and give their overarching view on Solskjaer. They believe he's the right man to lead Man United forward. Marcus Rashford recently came out and says that Solskjaer, is the right man to lead Man United forward. Ashley Young came out and said it not too long ago. Young actually said that Solskjaer has revived Ferguson's spirit at Manchester United. So these actually still quite a lot of them are players that are backing him. Daniel James, like I said, he's been a revelation this season for us. And I think he's been definitely a revelation, and I'm actually surprised, with the amount of games, that Daniel James has played this season. Obviously, when we signed him during the summer, I did obviously expect him to play games, but not as many to the extent as he has done. And I didn't think, he would have performed to the standards as we should expect from him, straight away. But he has done really, really well. Don't get me wrong, Daniel James is still a prospect, and he does need time to develop and that. But if he does keep this good run of form up, then I definitely can assure that his valuation will persistently grow. I think Wan-Bissaka has been absolutely fantastic for the vast majority of this season. Obviously, don't forget he was out with. I think he was injured early on this season, and he was also out with illness. But he has been. You got to say he's been one of my most consistent signings, Wan-Bissaka, and I do believe he will be my fullback for the next decade. But he's emulating himself up very, very well. And Harry Maguire, you've got to say he's addressed our defensive deficiencies. Don't get me wrong, I will agree on the aspect, that we did overpay for Harry Maguire. We did definitely overpay for him. We obviously paid 70 million up front for him with 10 million in add-ons, which did potentially rise it up to around £80 million. So he is the most expensive defender in the world. He's the second most expensive signing at the football club. And I think Solskjaer recently revealed that he was backing him, to become permanent captain of the football club. But he does show great leadership, But they've all done really, really well. And as for Fred, I think you've got to say recently, he's also been a revelation for Man United. I think he's totally comparison to McTominay, but to be fair, I think them two recently as well, before the international break, they complemented each other very, very well in our midfield. And, to be fair, Fred has fulfilled Paul Popper's position well, because Solskjaer did confirm anyway not too long ago that Fred will take Paul Popper's position for a while. But Fred, for me, hasn't performed to the standards as we should expect of him. expect from him. You know, look how much we paid for him. You know, we paid, was it £50 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk last summer, or was it just under £50 million? And again, you know, we did overpay for the player, but recently, you know, he has done really, really well, as Fred. So I will credit him for that. Andres Pereira, analysing him, I think, you know, he's had. I think you can say he's had a good few games as Andres Pereira. You know, I think he's had some bad games this season. But I think we need to give him more time at the football club, because Andres Pereira has been operating in that playmaker's role this season. He has actually, you know, been a regular starter. But we've definitely, you know, got quite a few good players in our team and that. So hopefully, you know, we can beat Sheffield United on Sunday. And like I said, recent reports did say that, well, allegedly, that Solskjaer is only going to get around £200 million to spend in January and next summer. These question marks regarding that, though. You know, is £200 million enough for us, you know, to bring, you know, the right number of players in? Is it enough? You know, is it enough for us, you know, to address all the deficiencies in the squad? Maybe it isn't that much, 200 million, but maybe we could get at least 2 players for 200 million quid. You know, we could even get 4 players there with 200 million quid. It's just dependent on, you know, how we are with our recruitment. But like I've said on numerous occasions, always spending big on players and getting them Galactico players doesn't always guarantee you success, and that's been proven with Manchester United in the last 6 or 7 years and that, because we're not in recent years anywhere for overpaying for players. But you know, you can definitely get around 3 or 4 players for 200 million, because we got 3 players for nearly £150 million during the course of the summer. But you know, we've got to address the problematic areas next year. And I've already, you know, told you the problematic areas. You know, we've definitely, you know, got to reinvest in that midfield. I think we need 2 midfielders. You know, we definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. You know, I think we need an attacking midfielder. We also need a defensive midfielder. But, you know, regardless of whether Paul Pogba stays or goes, you know, we still need to, you know, address that midfield. And that midfield is one of the priority areas where we need to strengthen up. We also need at least 1 striker, but I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is orchestrating on bringing 2 in. But we need at least 1, because you can say for the vast majority of this season that we know we've looked very exposed in that attacking line following the departures of Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. So yeah, we've got to get at least 1 striker in. We also need a right winger, because during the course of the summer we was in for a right winger, and maybe there's still other areas in the squad that do need to be addressed. But the 2 main priority areas is that midfield, and of course recommending a striker in. But you know, Solskjaer anyway has been assured that he will be given money to spend next year and that. I did say before I read the reports about supposedly Solskjaer getting 200 million to spend, I said, you know, the club are probably orchestrating on spending a substantial amount on recruiting new players next year. And I did said at an estimated guess, we'll probably orchestrate on spending from 250 to 300 million pounds. You know, we're recruiting new players, because I did say from my own perception, I think, you know, we need at least 5 to 6 more signings, maybe even more, if we are to be back to being a competitively level football club. And you know, definitely, you know, our recruitment has got to improve, because our recruitment has been very, very poor for several years. You know, I don't think it was that good during the summer, despite the fact that we brought 3 signings in. Obviously, we didn't get anyone in January this year. You know, last summer, back under the Jose Mourinho era, you know, the board went back in the signings that I wanted to recommend in to the football club. And, you know, we only, that particular summer, you know, we only ended up getting Diego Dalot, Fred and Lee Grant. So we wasn't obviously competitive in that current window. But definitely, you know, the recruitment has got to improve in that. And yeah, Solskjaer, I think, revealed, you know, before that, I think he's keen on continuing the policy of recruiting young players and that. So Solskjaer still wants to bring more young players into the football club. As it stands at the moment, we have got a lot of young players. You know, Solskjaer wants to continue, you know, bringing more players in and that. In that aspect, he does replicate Alex Ferguson, because, you know, taking into account, you know, Alex Ferguson did develop a lot of young players, you know, like you all know, and that. And, you know, he controlled a lot of the transfer policies, controlled a lot of the contracts and that. And I didn't initially say, I hope that this team at this day and age and that, can replicate what the team did under Alex Ferguson. I want Solskjaer to invoke Ferguson's legacy at Manchester United, but I am very, very sceptical about that. But I did say anyway, regardless of who our manager is, we'll never, be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson and that. But taking into account, Ferguson, didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United. He didn't win a thing. When we recommended him in from Aberdeen, was it back in 1984 or 1985? I think it was 1984. But obviously back in the old generation, managers, did get the time, that they would like. But some people still say, we should still give Solskjaer time. Give him at least a couple of more transfer windows, to see who else he can recommend to the football club. Because, analysing the vast majority of this team, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. There's only 3 players that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. The vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's, because Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club. Now, Solskjaer's still inheriting the vast majority of them. He's also inheriting players here still from Louis van Gaal era. There's still Matthew from the David Moyes era. There was Fellaini, but obviously he left in January. And obviously, there's still about 2 or 3 players here from the Alex Ferguson era. So, don't forget that. So, like I said to you, guys, we have got a lot of players on our agenda and I have been keeping you up to date regarding the transfer news quite recently. So I think Solskjaer has identified his 2 main priority targets, and that's Red Bull Salzburg's Erling Haaland and Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho. And reportedly, if we are to go in for them next year, which is obviously imminent according to reports, they're going to cost us in the excess of around £200 million. Erling Haaland reportedly is going to cost us around 85 million. Jadon Sancho is going to cost us around £100 million, maybe just a bit more. So it's between 185 to £200 million for both players. Don't forget, I give you the news, regarding Erling Haaland not too long ago, and I've been updating you about him on a regular basis because there has been a lot of narratives, going on in the mainstream media about him possibly coming to Manchester United. Obviously, as you all know, his father was at Manchester United's training ground not too long ago. Well, he visited our training ground, so obviously, that had fueled more speculation up. And I think, the beneficial thing about us, recommending Erling Haaland is that, he has played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance during his time with Mould. Solskjaer was obviously, the manager that gave him his Mould debut. And plus, I think Solskjaer is keen on reuniting with the player now. Erling Haaland has enjoyed a great start to this season with Red Bull Salzburg. He has been a revelation. He scored 26 goals in 18 games in all competitions. I think he scored around 7 goals in the Champions League. But I probably do believe he would be the right calibre player for Man United. He's only the age of 19. He's actually now a striker, and I think he would be a good replacement for Romelu Lukaku. I don't think it's only Man United that had in for him. I think quite a few other teams have attracted their interest in the player. So yeah, he's one of the players on our agenda. But Solskjaer initially confirmed not too long ago that he has drawn an 8-man list, an 8-man transfer list of long-term targets. So Jadon Sancho, again, I do believe, he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United and that, but, reflecting on it, we've been long admirers of Jadon Sancho. We was in for him during the summer. We also identified him as our number 1 priority target back in January. But I did say, we failed to get Jadon Sancho with our failure to qualify for the Champions League, basically. Because, like I said, when you're not in Champions League football, it's obviously very difficult to attract players to the elite level and that. And a player like Jadon Sancho obviously wants to be in Champions League football. Don't forget, he said the other week that, we was regarded as the favourite to sign Jadon Sancho. He did actually come out allegedly and say that he wanted to leave Borussia Dortmund. I think it was next summer. But he's actually primarily a right winger. But he can also operate Jadon Sancho centrally. And I think quite a few other teams have attracted their interest in him. Obviously Liverpool have been in for him. I think PSG and Real Madrid were also in for him. But, I think Jadon Sancho has been a revelation in Germany, since his arrival from Man City back in 2017. He's in the Bundesliga. I think in total he's made around 55 appearances, so his vast majority of appearances have come in the Bundesliga, and has made, I think, around 74 appearances in all competitions. Jadon Sancho, analysed his performances in the couple of years he's been with Dortmund. Obviously, his valuation has persistently grown because, Dortmund only paid around £7 or £8 million from Man City back in 2017. But he did serve a couple of years with Man City. But, the main factor reason why he left Man City is because, they couldn't assure him first team football. So I think Jadon Sancho, is a player that can score goals. His runs on and off the ball are good. He can create chances. He can also provide. So yeah, I'd love Jadon Sancho at Manchester United. So Erling Haaland and Jadon Sancho are our two main priority targets. Obviously, Moussa Dembele is another one of the players on our agenda, and that, don't forget, we went in for Moussa Dembele during the course of the summer transfer window. Well, he wasn't one of our main priority targets, so what I mean in that aspect is that, we was tentatively, linked with him and that. Moussa Dembele, again, I think he would be the right calibre player for Man United. He's got goals in him, he's got assists in him, he can create chances. And he's proven this, so far with Lyon. He's only into his second season with Lyon and that. But I think, the beneficial thing about us recommending Moussa Dembele is that, he's played in the Premier League when he was younger, because don't forget he actually began his senior career with Fulham. He was there a number of years, then obviously left Fulham, enjoyed a couple of years with Celtic, and then obviously after Celtic he obviously joined Lyon. Lyon only paid around £20 million from Celtic last summer, and he's under contract with Lyon until 2023. But obviously he's not going to be orchestrating on spending the rest of his career with Lyon. But yeah, he's an out-and-out number 9. But yeah, he's definitely now on our agenda. But I think, if we had to go in for him next year, he will cost us a substantial amount. I think we'd probably have to pay in the region of around 60 or 70 million pounds, if we was to currently get him in. So yeah, he's another one of the players on our agenda. We've also got Mario Mandzukic on our agenda. I think recently now we seem to have showed an interest in Edin Dzeko for some reason over Mario Mandzukic, but there's obviously been a lot of reports going on about Mario Mandzukic for quite some time, and I think it's actually imminent that Man United will probably sign him in January and that, because Mario Mandzukic is obviously now anywhere surplus to requirements with Juventus. Obviously, because since Maurizio Sarri got recommended in the summer, Mario Mandzukic has not played a single minute under his guidance and that. So this is why he's surplus to requirements. I think he's probably going to be our first signing in January. Our fourth signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solsjaker era. I may be wrong. He may not be the first signing in January, but there was reports the other week coming out saying that if we could reach an informal agreement with Juventus before January, then he could actually start training with Man United in December, could Mario Mandzukic, and reportedly his preference is a move to Man United, so he has made a decision on his future. Mario Mandzukic wouldn't cost as much, he's a cheap solution, which is good. We'd probably only have to pay just over £10 million for him. Obviously the club wouldn't orchestrate on giving him a long-term contract reflecting on his age, because Mario Mandzukic is obviously now 33 years of age, and that's the only element of concern really I have got about as recommending him in. But overall, I do admire him, because I think he's had a fantastic career. He scored 44 goals in 162 appearances for Juventus in all competitions. But I think a few other teams have been in for him, but I think we could definitely sign him. So there is a lot of players on our agenda, like I mentioned. I've gone through all the rest of the players we're in for on my other videos I've done. So I do go check that out now. But I can definitely assure that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will still be at Man United at the end of this season, definitely. I'm sceptical about him, seeing out his 3-year contract with the football club, because Solskjaer had been given a 3-year contract in March early on this year when he had been given the job. Overall, Solskjaer has been here now around 11 months, so he has basically been here just under a year, and obviously he's been permanent manager now for around 8 months as Solskjaer, and obviously for the vast majority of that 8 months it's gone wrong. Obviously, comparison, to the 3 months when he was the interim manager and that. Because obviously my perceptions were different then regarding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But yeah, maybe he does deserve a bit more time at the football club. But obviously, if we decided to get rid of Solskjaer in the future anywhere or whenever, even if it was at this present time, we'd obviously have to pay something in compensation anywhere to get rid of him. We probably wouldn't have to pay as much, to get rid of him as we did do with Jose Mourinho, but we still will have to pay something in that. But like I said to you guys, didn't I? That there has been a list of managers on our agenda, who could replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. Obviously, there was a lot of talks about Max Allegri, quite a few weeks back now. I think at one point he was our primary candidate to replace Solskjaer and that. Some certain Man United fans and that, would have had different perceptions on Max Allegri. Maybe some believe, he would be, the right candidate for Man United. But, at one point he was our primary candidate. But now, obviously, following the sacking of Mauricio Pochettino, now, obviously, we are back in for him. We was actually, in for Mauricio Pochettino, after the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December of last year. This was obviously before we recommended Solskjaer in. Mauricio Pochettino was our primary candidate. But I think, the couple of reasons why our preference was Solskjaer is because obviously Solskjaer knows the traditions of the club. He also, was a cheaper solution because we didn't really pay that much to recommend him in from Mould. And this is obviously now the current reason that. But so Pochettino, like I said, did get sacked on Tuesday evening from Tottenham. Obviously Tottenham had come out with a public statement, and I do presume to explain why they decided to end Mauricio Pochettino on that. Now he's currently managerless at the moment, so we're back in for him. I think also he's been linked with Bayern Munich, but I think he'll definitely now get another job. I don't think he will be managerless for too long. Mauricio Pochettino, but I thought he was a pretty good manager. Mauricio Pochettino, he endured 5 years with Tottenham, and he mainly did well. Obviously Tottenham have endured a difficult start to this season. Obviously they're sitting 14th in the league at the moment. This is probably the reason why he's being sacked and that. This is the reason, why he's being sacked and that. But Pochettino, last season got Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final. He also got them runners up in the Premier League in 2017. He guided them to a couple of third place finishes. He got them to the League Cup final in his first full season, don't forget, at Tottenham. So overall, he did a good job. But I think he probably would be the right candidate for Man United, and I think he's a better manager overall than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. My only element of concern I've got about Pochettino is that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware. That's my only element of concern. But he's obviously now well Premier League proven. He's good at developing a lot of young players, and I think his philosophy for Man United, would be right, definitely. But I think if Solskjaer is to be sacked and Pochettino is still managerless if we do decide to sack Solskjaer, then I think he's likely to be the next Manchester United manager. Pochettino did sign a 5-year contract initially with Tottenham in the summer of 2018, and he was on around 8.5 million a year in that. But now, obviously, as you all know, Tottenham have obviously appointed Jose Mourinho. That got confirmed, I think, on Wednesday morning, like I've updated you about that, recently. And Mourinho's, I think, on around 15 million. I think around 15 million a year now at Tottenham. That's almost double, than what Mauricio Pochettino was on. Something like that. Anyway, yes, it is almost double. and he signed a contract with Tottenham until 2022, until 2022 or 2012, to the end of the 2022-23 season. And I recently watched his first press conference. Obviously, his first game, Mourinho's in charge of Tottenham. He's obviously away at West Ham, and Mourinho's. I've only watched some of it. He said he was like humble and that. But do you think Mourinho will succeed at Tottenham and that? Overall he's a really really good manager. Is Jose Mourinho. Obviously he's won so far 25 major honours in his managerial career so far, and that as Jose Mourinho. He obviously won 3 Premier League titles with Chelsea, won the FA Cup with Chelsea. He had 2 spells with Chelsea. He won the Europa League and League Cup in his first season with us. He won the Champions League with Porto, Man Inter Milan, so he's done really really well in that. But I already explained the variety of reasons why his tenure at Man United didn't work out. Mourinho enjoyed a 2.5 year tenure at the club. He's actually the longest serving manager we've had since the Alex Ferguson era. But the reasons it didn't work out under him is because he had bad disputes with the board. Bad disputes with the top players. Like I mentioned, the board weren't back in the signings that he wanted to recommend in. But to be honest with you, me looking at it, I think he will do a really, really good job with Tottenham. But like Solsjaker said, he's reacted to him coming back, and he says it's very good news for the Premier League and that. And he feels as though that he's under no extra pressure, Solskjaer, even though Mauricio Pochettino of course had got sacked. So that's mainly everything to update you today, guys, on this video. So I just wanted to give you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference and that. There will be more videos coming up today. Well, I think there will be one more video coming up this evening and that, as we always do on this channel. So yeah. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe, like I said, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you guys all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.